All right, we're here with Mike Mack from X5 Management, and we're chatting with you today about some lifestyle stuff, some things that take you or that you are interested in doing outside of work, outside of business life. If you're on vacation, Mike, and you're out enjoying time with your wife somewhere, what kind of things do you learn on vacation?
Yeah, it has been interesting. And for the record, it didn't take a lot of vacation in the last year. Embarrassed to say, really none, but I'm not complaining. We've done a lot of long weekends. I think two things. It sounds corny to say I have learned to appreciate smelling the roses a lot more, to slow it down and really try hard to be more present, particularly as an entrepreneur. That's easier said than done, but I appreciate the small moments, if you will. So I do that. Other things that I learn, and let's just say a week away and you go to Mexico, that's a traditional place that we would go in normal times for a week. We do travel to Europe usually every year, pre-COVID as well. My wife's head office is in Germany, so we've been privileged to be there a number of times. But I get pretty smart on day 4 of vacation. I always like to joke because my mind's clear, I'm relaxed, and I think about the road ahead. I don't think about the past. And I can honestly say with almost certainty, every vacation I've come back with some new idea, big or small. And in almost all cases, I've implemented that idea, which has served me well. And you'd say, well, did you have that idea before? Sure. It just was so much clearer at that point in time. So that's one item that comes to mind. But the only way you can do it literally is to slow down and smell the roses. And, my wife's an amazing woman and we travel really well together too. So vacations, we get to do a lot of fun stuff, and then you can read and you can do whatever you want. And we're pretty active. Like, we're not just sitting around doing nothing, but I do always come back smarter after a vacation. So can't even imagine if I was off for a month, I'd come back ingenious, I'm sure. Perhaps.
Well, that's a good comment. Yeah, slowing down. I mean, I have a hard time, even when I do take time away from work, to slow down. Maybe it's just because of the life stage I'm at, where I've got young kids and you're constantly chasing them around. A vacation is almost more work than going to work. So it's hard for me to learn on vacation.
With the younger family, it is. A quick comment, just, traveling to Europe, which we did 4 or 5 times pre-COVID, and we missed the last 2 years. We're scheduled next year to go in May to Germany, and then we're going to Greece. A couple things. When you're dealing on a different time clock, that was the other thing that was a great eye-opener for me, is that I actually am a better vacation guy in Europe than I am here, because the time allows you to not feel guilty about not working when everybody's sleeping. And it sounds really simple, but it's really in your head. So if I got up early in the morning, you're just getting ready to go to bed here in Alberta, and I could crank a couple emails to make me feel better, to get my fix, if you will. But then I really have the entire day to just do what I do. And so I've become a real fan of European travel, obviously. And because that day is a vacation day, I'm not looking at my phone. It's turned off most of the time, just because of roaming and all the other things you're dealing with. So it's kind of programs you to be a better person on vacation as well. So.
I think, Dave, you make that comment when you go out to Ontario. You spend a couple of months out there in the summer, and it's a different time zone. So what do you word it? Or
it's just north of Toronto, so it's Eastern Standard Time. So for me, me banging out emails might happen a little bit around a quick bite and a coffee in the morning when I'm here, which 8:30, 9 o'clock. I'm not an early guy like you are, Mike, but when I'm out east, I get up, around the same time, but I'm 2 hours ahead of the curve. So I'm probably scaring my clients in the summer because, I get to spend that first hour. I just smash out what I need to smash out. And by the time I come back and look at my phone, I can answer some stuff, and it gets to the people here before the end of the day. So I'm actually on my schedule that I like, but I'm not leaving anybody behind. So, if I'm acting at 5 o'clock here, it's 7 o'clock in Ontario. So, some of those are going to have to wait till the next day. But when I'm out there, I'm ahead by 2 hours. So I can really just segment my day. Like you said, take some time to smell the roses, just get out in the lake, kick back a bit, do some different things. So, golf and, do whatever we do when we're out there. So it is, you just, once you figure out where you're going to be and how long you're going to be there and what the program is, you fall into it fairly quickly. It's just, it's a bit of I think an advantage for me to do it that way. And I do come back with, ask Tyler, he's here after vacation. I come back with a whole lot of wacky ideas that he's got to fend off while I go through the list of things I think that are great.
I think the other quick comment, and everybody's wired differently. Even lots of people had staycations over the last year because they couldn't travel or they were camping or whatever. Just have something to do as well. I think that's the other important part. So even a long weekend, we're going to Canmore. We go there a lot. There's things we're going to do. We got a dinner booked at our favorite restaurant on Saturday night. So you're doing things. You're not just sitting there and I always joke, I haven't been bored since I'm 10. It's kind of a choice. There's always something to do. We worked on our yard, moved to a new home last year. Even that on a long weekend was gratifying. It was work, but it was different work. It was not mental work that we're dealing with more than, so people have to be good at, much like retirement, have to be good at vacationing as well, knowing how to do that. There is a bit of a skill to it, if you will, right? Or an art to it.
Now you're a bike rider, right? Aren't you?
Yeah. Well, mountain biking. Yeah, my wife and I do. We live close to the river here and get to the mountains from time to time, and we tear it up less than we used to. A little bit more responsible because you can bust things up as well. Getting into the river valley, even in Edmonton, as an example, you literally can escape, and you're doing something. 1 hour ride in the valley, you feel different when you come back because you can smell things that you didn't smell during the day, and it's simple, but it's pretty awesome. And we do have a pretty amazing river valley, and I think we have an amazing city as well too. That's my humble opinion, but
I think Mike's been cutting across Windermere at night with his bike. I see some tire tracks the next day.
Yeah, well, I know I don't do that because I'd be in trouble. I have to turn around at the gate. We always joke when my wife and I ride by the Windermere Golf and Country Club because people are cruising down there. I'm like, and you always see the really expensive vehicles are going in there because that's usually the members as well. But you see people turning around like, I guess I can't go there. So we do not tear on that golf course. It's a pretty pristine property, obviously. So
you cut through the states there of Windermere and then get down to the River Valley kind of at that point. Do you go under the Henday or do you go a different route?
Yeah, well, under the Henday, which is a little longer ride from where we're at, but you can get down there. It's a bit more rustic, if you will, not single track stuff like. When my wife has a hitch as well, so we throw our bikes on. Sometimes we've ended up downtown and cruising along the valley by Fort Edmonton and so on. And we did a lot of biking there over the years. So, and we just know those trails really well, so that you can be a little adventurous on the single track and be a little bit more rugged and scratching your arms on twigs and so on as well. But and to see our river, I mean, you appreciate how quickly it does move when you're actually really close to it as well. When
you're standing on top of one of those bridges. So I made the leap and bought an e-bike this year because I'm not sure that I would. I've ridden a normal bike to work, but I decided I was going to try and commute a bit with it. But at the end of the day, when you got to go home, I'm not going to be a happy person if I'm tired and angry and I've got an uphill ride. So to me, it's I'll hit the dial and I'll get home in the same amount of time I should get home, but I won't be powering it as much. So I've just gotten it recently, so I took it down into the River Valley, and holy smokes, man, you can see a lot of stuff. You can go a lot of places, just like you said. It's really, really fun. And then guess what? Coming out of the River Valley, not so painful.
Yeah, true. It'll be on our bucket list down the road. I did. Used an e-bike for the first time in Germany 2 years ago, as we hooked up with a guy out of Calgary, ironically, that was on the business trip with my wife and I, and we were cruising all over the place, and that was a bit of a treat for sure. Just on, and we weren't there before, so wow, this is this massive hill, and you're not geared up like you normally would be, like we know our rides around here. So I think they'll get some attention and traction with. We've talked about it. We like to say that's going to be many years away, but we shall see how that unfolds, and I hope we purchase one. But
well, there we go. That's I can shout out George there at Vamoose electric cycle in Edmonton. That's where I got my bike from.
Nice plug.
Yeah. So it's a bit of a beast. I think I scared Tyler when I brought it there, and he goes, "That's a motorcycle." You know, like it's a little bigger than anybody
bigger
thought.
than I thought it would be. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I mean it's all wheel drive. It's crazy. So it's made for the winters, the mountains, all sorts of stuff. So it'll be interesting as time plays out how much I use it, how much I rely on the adjustment to give me some boost, because it's a heavy bike. It's 80 pounds. So, you know, you find that happy medium where you're on a setting 1 or 2, and you see if you can make your whole ride on a 2, and then next time you see if you can make the whole ride on a 1, and then you cruise home on a 5 with the throttle fully pinned. You know, so we'll see.
Yeah, good point. I'll give you a tip, because I did have this experience in Germany when the battery went out, because we went longer than expected, and that was a grind riding that last half hour home with nothing. Like that was a beast.
We talked about that. I was at 26% coming home from a ride through Fort Edmonton Park, and kind of down through Riverbend coming home, and I was like, oh boy, what am I going to do? Because I know there's a couple big hills to come. So I turned it down to 1, and I had to put a lot more power, and then I got to the hills, cranked it, and I'm like, got home at 20%. I'm like, wow, this sucks. I could have been riding on throttle the whole way, but I was worried though. I can tell you that. So they're pretty neat. Yeah.
Well, Mike, I'm glad you get to do some stuff besides just work all day.
There's always more things you could do from a hobby perspective, but enjoy socializing, drinking a good scotch now and again. You gents are scotch guys as well, and the kind of the closing comment for me is also the relationship side of just hanging out with friends and clients. You know, I spent a lot of time with clients this summer on my patio, and that was a lot of fun, where you can kind of, let your hair down a bit and just be 2 or 4 people together having a drink, and it doesn't have to be complicated or structured. And there's a lot of really, really great people in this community, and including business owners as well, but that appreciate simple things in life, right? Talking about bike ride, it just doesn't have to be a highly sophisticated hobby that keeps us alive and well, right?
You bet.
Well, I think, even from the entrepreneur side of the world, you're more apt to want to sit down with your client and spend that time. I mean, if you're in a corporate structure, sometimes you're being told that you're not allowed to spend this time with the company's clients. There's a lot of restrictions where the more restrictions you put, I think the harder it is to do business. Sometimes you got to trust that if you're going to have a dinner with your clients, you're just having a dinner, and it's part of your business, and it's part of the process of getting that client or keeping that client. So I'm a big fan of that, and that's not something you can do by Zoom. You can do it once or twice. You can try something like that, but it goes by pretty fast, and I don't want everyone to do that again.
Very, very true. A quick comment, if I may, in respect of your show schedule, but one of the highlights this summer, because we did move to a new place, and we did a pretty good job of our backyard, and we got a pretty big patio. Invited some of my clients over, executives with different companies, and the best part was they never met each other before, and just sitting there having a beer and some appies, and just talking about business, but at a very high level about the challenges and the opportunities, and they all were really grateful with the opportunity. And I, as the host, I just got a lot of joy on that. It was just seeing, Richard was there as well as an example, and just 3, happened to be 3. I'd invited 4 companies at that time, and the other guy couldn't make it out. Just how much fun they had. It was like, wow, this is just great. And that they came over for a quick beer, and I think they were here like almost 3 hours. Like they were just having a great time, and that was, I would definitely do that more again and again and again, and people appreciate that. And you're right, you can't pull that off on Zoom. It wouldn't work the same way, right? No fellowship, if you will. So
it's great.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Nice.
Well, Mike, thanks again very much for joining us today. We'll let you get back to maybe going on a cycling ride right now and enjoying the fall weather that we're having.
It's awesome. I gotta split it a bit tonight. I'm cutting my lawn because I'm heading out of town tomorrow. So I do love cutting my lawn as well. So that's not a bad thing. But hey, once again, gentlemen, a real privilege to be invited to your program, and best wishes to you as well. I'm going to make sure that we break some bread together in person as well. You seem like a couple fine gents that I would love the opportunity to do that in person with at any point in time. I'll buy the first one. I'll just qualify as well.
Thanks for watching this episode of Smokin Bulls. Follow us on social media or learn more about us at smokinbulls.com.